This is not the time to throw in the towel. This is not the time to give up. It's the time to trust God more, to dig in deeper.
I'm in a fight for my life. I'm in a fight to be a man. I'm in a fight to be a father. I'm in a fight to be a mama. Some of me wants to quit it and walk away. I'm in a fight. Give me somebody to hit it.
What story do I want to tell later down the road? See, every stage in our life becomes a story. At some point, you will end up telling it. We have to remember that the decisions that we make today will be a part of our life story tomorrow. So as you're making the decision, you got to ask yourself, what story do I want to tell a little bit later down the road? And if what you're doing does not line up with what you think you want to tell a little bit later, then you might want to rethink what you are doing.
I just want to tell you, don't let this chapter that you're going through make you in your story. Don't let depression lie to you and tell you that you're not enough, that tells you that there's no more better days, that tells you that your best days are behind you, that tells you you're a nobody, that tells you that you're better off dead. Don't let it lie to you, because it's been lying to you so long that you're starting to believe that's true. You're starting to live that out.
Good intentions are worthless. Worthless, folks. When are you going to fall out of love with good intentions? Good intentions are worthless unless they lead to good actions. Nobody ever had their life changed by somebody hoping, thinking. Good intentions are not enough.
I want to have a conversation with y'all about unapologetically getting rid of all things, people, and situations that no longer belong in the new season of your life. Some of y'all came up with New Year's resolutions. You've already fell apart. You've already fell apart. New Year's resolution, Happy New Year. It's supposed to be Happy New You Year. All of your bad habits, surroundings, and situations, personal relationships that didn't make sense for your life back then, you're supposed to step into the Happy New You Year.
When you get uncomfortable, you stop believing that. When you get depressed, you stop believing that. You start trying to grip life like you used to. We got to go backwards to get better. We got to go all the way back to get better. That means I have to be comfortable in some seasons of my life. I have to be comfortable in my life to accept that sometimes loss is the way to gain. I have to be comfortable enough in my life to know that sometimes the most painful moments are the most purposeful moments. I have to be comfortable in my life to stop comparing myself so much with people who are not meant to be the standard anyway.
That drive and that attitude of never quit, it's a powerful force, and it does push you over the edge to victory in many cases. But over that attitude, you have to layer something on top of that. It's basically strategic vision and understanding of the battlefield as a whole. So you absolutely need to know when you got to stop beating your head against the wall. You've got to know that.
You're doing the best you can, but you put 1 foot forward and 2 steps are made backwards. You're trying, but things don't seem to be quite working out the way you planned. You thought you'd be in a different place at this season in your life. You're doing everything right, but you're still suffering.
This is a good word for anybody who you've been dealing with depression, but you've been drinking to get through it. Now, depression is something that happens to a lot of us. I mean, I don't know anybody who hasn't had a season of darkness in their life. But if I try to drive out darkness with darkness, and I depend on something in the darkness that is going to make me addicted to something even when the light comes up, the second storm is worse than the first. And a lot of us are dealing with loneliness right now in this season. That's a storm that you can't always control. But if you run to places in the storm that are more dangerous than the storm itself, how many times have you left a place that you didn't like? And the problem is, you can't change if you never stay. Staying power. Staying power. One text message can change the next 3 years of your life in 80 characters. Out of nowhere. That's the first storm, the one you can't control. And you can't do anything about the current, crossing the current and the stormy conditions. I mean, some storms are just seasonal. Some storms can't be avoided. Don't create a second storm by your decisions. See, you can ask God to protect you in the first storm. God, I don't know what to do. You do. God, I can't do anything about this. You can. But what a lot of us have been doing in this season of uncertainty, we have been creating second storms that are worse than the first.
So many of y'all are in mental and spiritual, psychological warfare. So many of y'all are in spiritual chains. You are spiritually behind bars. You are stuck. You are institutionalized. Most of us have two eyes, and we still can't clearly see all of the scams, the people's motives. God sends us bold signs and wonders, tells us to change our environment and our surroundings so that we can reach the ultimate level of being blessed. I really think that if you get rid of the trash in your life, that can be people, business, and situations, you too could really, I really believe that you can reach your full potential. I want you to fly. I want you and your career and your financial blessings to bypass me.
Sometimes in order to get to better, you have to go backwards. Sometimes in order to get to better, you have to go through bad. And I'm preaching this for somebody today who has been feeling like things have been going backwards for you. The thing about it is, when God shows you a new grip called grace, for a little while in your life is harder for you because you're used to controlling things. Have you ever noticed if you get something new, even if it's better at first, it gets on your nerves because you don't know how to use it? And the temptation for us is, watch this, God will do a new thing in our life, and he'll be teaching us to forgive, and he'll be teaching us to get over offenses, and he'll be teaching us to trust him, and he'll be teaching us not to live by our feelings. But then we look at what he fixed on our grip, and we see our shot going so far over the fence, and I wonder if I would actually be better off doing it the old way than the new way. So I go back instead of moving forward into better. When what you were guiding by goes away, and every day just looks the same and feels the same, now I get the feeling like this is endless. Now I get the feeling like maybe these chains are never gonna break. This storm is never gonna cease. What you go through doesn't determine where you end up. What you go through doesn't determine where you end up. Who you listen to determines where you end up. Because I think right now you are walking through a valley between two voices. One is wisdom, one is worry. One is gratitude, one is grumbling. One is blame, one is faith. Wait a minute. The opposite of faith is doubt. No. Doubt doesn't keep you from having faith. Doubt gives you something to have faith for. But blame will block faith every time. Blame will always block faith.
A subject that altered my life forever. It was just unbelievable. I hadn't known my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, very long until one day he said, Mr. Rohn, let me see your current list of goals. He said, I've had a lot of experience and I've been out here for a while. And he said, let's go over them and maybe I can really give you some good ideas. And I said, I don't have a list. He said, well, if you don't have a list of your goals, he said, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s, which he did. That got my attention. I said, "You mean my bank balance would be a lot bigger if I learned how to set goals?" He said, "Drastically bigger." That got my attention, so I finally said, "Hey, I want to learn how to set goals." It is a fantastic skill to develop, how to design your own future. So make the note, life best lived is life by design, not by accident. Not just, walking through the day, careening from wall to wall and managing to survive. That's okay. But if you can start giving your life dimensions and design and color and objectives and purpose, the results can be absolutely staggering. Key phrase, here's a chance now to use your imagination. Because the imagination builds cities, imagination conquers disease, imagination develops a career, imagination sets up a relationship. Imagination is where all tangible values and intangible values begin, in the imagination. So what you've got to learn to do is use this powerful resource. Now, sometimes all by ourselves, it's a little difficult sort of to get it going. That's why a little workshop like we're going to do today is sometimes very helpful. When someone does a little coaching and says, "How about this niche?" You say, "I never thought about that. That ought to be easy to do." And the first thing you know, you're going. And that's why that is so important. But now, tapping this resource of the imagination and thinking about your future, thinking about tomorrow, as early as tomorrow or the rest of the day, and thinking on out the rest of the year, on into the next century, on into the early years of the next century. A workshop like we're about to do helps call your attention to that, so you can use your imagination to start prospecting for the future, what could be possible for you. We're affected by our dreams, our vision of the future.
If you take a seed and throw it on the concrete and walk off, the sun just burn it up. Got to have dirt put on top of it. In my mind, it doesn't make sense that to grow something, you should dig a hole, put it down in there, and cover it with dirt. Logically, that don't make no sense to me. But oh, though, see, dirt is necessary for growth and development. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. Dirt makes you come with it when you don't feel like coming with it no more. All of y'all that had dirt throwed on you. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody telling you you ain't gonna make it. That everybody get dirt put on them. But see, when you're getting put under that stress, please know God is always working, so I smile. Because I know he back there. See, that dirt builds character in you. When they talking about you, it teaches you to withstand it. Then it gives you something to push through. So when you put the seed and you put the dirt on it, if you understand stress, stress really ain't just dirt. See, they don't call it dirt when they plant it. They call it soil. Because, see, soil has nutrients in it. What the nutrients, when people talking about you, dogging you, lying on you, backbiting, stealing from you, they're actually putting nutrients in you. They are building character. You got character now. And now, the dirt is necessary so you can prove yourself. Everything you see above ground that blossoms and plants and grows and that's beautiful, it was underground one time.
You want to make sure that the greatest pull on your life is the pull of the future. Some people live in the past and let their life be continually pulled and influenced by the past. And yes, we must remember the past and review the past to make it useful to invest in the future. But here's the key. Make sure that the greatest pull on your life is the pull of the future. Now, if you're skimpy on your dreams, if you're skimpy on your objectives and your purposes, if that isn't very well planned, then it doesn't pull very hard. Then you have more of a tendency to be pulled by the past, or to be pulled apart by events or circumstances, or to be pulled apart by distractions. So in order to save yourself from being pulled apart by distractions or pulled back to the past, you want to now start really designing the future so that the greatest part of your attention and focus and pull, like a magnet, pulls you forward into the future to accomplish your goals. But if you're weak in learning to set goals, if you haven't really worked on this that we're going to work on, then that is a solution you need to consider. Goals are like a magnet. They pull. The stronger they are and the more purposeful they are, the bigger they are, the more unique they are, the stronger they pull. If you have excellent goals and high dreams, here's what they also do. They pull you through all kinds of down days, down seasons. They pull you through a winter of discontent. They pull you through distraction on every side that says, look here, look here, look here. Strong, powerful dreams like a magnet pull you through that. Strong dreams and goals pull you through a disaster. Some people get swallowed by the disaster because they have nothing on the other side of the disaster to pull them through. A bad day can almost overwhelm you if you don't have something really purposeful to go for at the other side of that day, at the other side of the difficult time, at the other side of the down time. If you've got plenty out there to attract and pull, it'll pull you through all these things. And very little of it will attach itself to you. You'll be able to get through some of the most difficult times if you have this spectacular vision ahead of you of where you're going and what you're going to accomplish. Getting through will be easy or easier. So, learning to set goals. It is an incredible experience. Once I learned it, it transformed my life forever. Being here today is an accomplishment of my goals. When I travel around the world and sit on an airplane, I say, I dreamed about this one day. I used to go to the airport and watch the planes fly away, and I said, one of these days, I'll be on one of those planes. I dreamed about it. I dreamed about the other side of the world. I'd never been to Italy, but I dreamed about it. I'd never been to South Africa, but I dreamed about it. Sure enough, step by step and country by country and flight by flight, I started checking them off my list. It was the most exhilarating feeling. Powerful to set those goals, reach out there into the future, design something to the best of your ability, refine it as you go, tear it up periodically if you want to, set a whole new list. It's your life, it's your future. But now I would like to do it in a very simple, easy manner that you can follow, so that you can use it for the future to pass on to your children, or if you got a little group that you train and teach, or your management and salespeople, you can use this with others. So what I'm going to go through with you here is sort of a model. Sort of, if I rush you just a little bit on getting through this model, at least I will leave you with the model that you can use later. And not only use later, but use later to pass on to someone else in some manner. So, having laid this background now, here's what I want you to do. Get a fresh piece of paper. And this is called now the workshop. And on this workshop now, I want you to write down the question and then do the exercise. First question. List what 5 things have you accomplished that you're already proud of? What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? Now, primarily what this is for is to, give you credit for what you've already accomplished. Shoaff said to me, Mr. Rohn, you've already been setting goals. You've already gone for something and you've achieved it. But you've probably done it haphazardly. You haven't done it with a real plan in mind. And you've accomplished some things. Now, if you start deliberately doing it, can you imagine how you can multiply the effect by 5, by 10, by 20, by 100? I finally got the message. So first of all, he wanted to make sure I got credit for the things that I had already accomplished, especially in my own mind. Whether it's an accomplishment to someone else doesn't matter now, just so you recognize it for yourself. Now that you've done that little workshop, here's the second question. This is going to take some time now. What do you want in the next 10 years? What do you want in the next 10 years? Now, under this, what do you want in the next 10 years? That is the question. I want you to make a list of at least 50 items. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to just write as fast as you can. Don't give any much detailed thought to it, of what you want in the next 10 years. And just let your mind run free. Now, also remember this. This is not what you think you can get. This is what you want. If it all fell into place and you could have everything you wanted in the next 10 years, what would you take? If somebody promised you can have anything you want in the next 10 years, what do you want? I want you to approach it that way, because it's not important to think, what do I think I can get? I want you to now think about what you want in the next 10 years. And put them one under the other, not side by side, but one under the other, because we're going to do something with this list when you finish. You don't have to just be shortchanged on this list. I mean, this list can go on and on and on. And if you're working this workshop and you've got plenty of time, you just, give it plenty of time until everybody's pretty thoroughly, ready now with this list. But now here's what I want you to do with this list. I want you to go through the list now, one item at a time, write down the list, and I want you to give each item a 1, a 3, a 5, or a 10 by saying, that's about a 1-year goal, that's about a 3, that's about a 5, that's about a 10. I want you to look at each item, write down the list, and give it a 1, 3, 5, or 10. Now, here's what I want you to do with this list. I want you to look at each item that you've numbered number 1, and I want you to pick out the 4 most important and identify them somewhere. Either make a new list of the 4 most important 1-year goals, or circle them, or put a star or something beside it. What are your 4 most important 1-year goals? Now that you picked the 4 most important 1-year goals, here's the next question. Why? Why are those 4 goals important to you? What are they going to do for you? What will they accomplish? Why did you pick those? Why? Why are those goals important? Just 3 or 4 sentences. If we don't have time to complete it, you can complete it later. If you have plenty of time doing this workshop, you just take the time. Why are those 4 goals important to you? Okay, put a little star there now. Those little stars mean finish later. Okay, because you can continue on with this, long after this workshop is finished, and then use it as a model to teach. Remember, study, practice, teach. Now, make these notes. Next, when the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. When the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. When people don't have strong, powerful goals, the how is almost impossible. The how is too difficult. How to do it seems like, how can I ever accomplish this? The how starts getting easier and easier when the why gets bigger and bigger and stronger. Now make this note. Purpose is stronger than object. Purpose is stronger than object. Object can be powerful, object can be strong, but purpose is stronger than object. One of your objectives might have been $1 million home to live in. Here's the big question. What for? And it's the what for that pulls stronger than the $1 million home. A home is a home is a home. What for? What are you going to do with this place? Well, now we start with the details. And I want you to add this note. It works in communication, it works here too. The drama is in the details. The drama is in the detail. Someone says, I've lost 40 pounds in the last 3 months. We say, is that it? Those are the numbers, but what's the detail? How did you feel before? Well, let me tell you what. Now they start the drama by giving us the details. How do you feel now? Wow. What a difference, 40 pounds later. And this person starts to describe what it's like now versus what it was like before. The drama is in the details. This is what you've got to do. $1 million home? What for? So everybody can see it from the street? That's okay, but there's got to be some more reasons. What do you want to do with this home? Then you start saying, hey, it's going to be the center of activity. You can't believe what's going to go on in this home. And you just keep describing it. And that drama now starts to really tap your imagination. And imagination is the beginning of reality. You can't imagine how close imagination is to reality until you start practicing this craft of turning nothing into something, imagination into tangible, the real stuff. How close is the real stuff? You can't imagine how close. If you start tapping into this resource of your imagination, so that your purpose becomes much stronger than the object. The object is powerful and it'll pull, but the purpose is unbelievable. We must all pay the price, but the price gets easy if the prize gets large. The price gets easy if the prize gets sufficient. It's like disciplines. What a small price to pay for good health. What an easy thing to do, an apple a day. A few things gives you such an incredible return that the price almost disappears. Promise is stronger than object. You got that? the bigger and the more powerful the why, the how gets easier and easier and easier.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.
You have the right and the power within yourself to choose the direction you want to go. But in the process of making that choice, understand that God is sovereign, and when everything is said and done, he will have his way.
You're still alive, so therefore God is not done with you. You're still here. God has a plan for your life.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when he gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way, and you're going to be okay with it. Pull yourself together and quit tripping, because you're in the process. God is processing you. He ain't through with you. If he was through with you, you would not wake up in the morning. He gonna fix it.
You can never shine trying to sit on someone else's sun. You can never figure out who you are if you're consumed in everything that everybody else is and what they're doing and the moves that they're making. There is a saying that you have to fake it until you make it. Most of y'all have been faking it for so long, you're never gonna make it. Most of y'all have been faking it so long, you now believe your own tricks. Most of y'all have been living a lie for so long that you believe your own lies, because you're trying to chase someone else's life, all while ignoring your own life and your own path, all while ignoring what God has in mind for you.
There's something in you, in your heart of hearts, that said, I'm not going to let anybody pull my strings. It said, I'm going to control my own personal economy. It said, I've got a dream I want to achieve. That said, I am the captain of my ship. That said, I'm going to control my destiny. And whatever it takes, I'm willing to do the work.
In the morning, devour something. Throw your whole self at something. You'll never know what you can do and what you can be until you throw your whole self at it. Devour it. I mean, devour it. Don't try it. Devour it. Attack it. Attack it like you're going to kill it. Devour the prey. And in the evening, you divide the spoils. We have it backwards today. We want to divide the spoils in the morning. So we're blinging when we ought to be devouring. See, don't worry about whose name you wear when you're young. Worry about your name.
What is the vision for your life? What are the ideas and the dreams for your life? What are you supposed to be doing? Who are you? What are your gifts and talents? What is your ultimate destiny and your goals? God will never give you something somebody else is supposed to have.
There is an old person down inside of you that's dependent on you to be smart. It's the person you're going to be 30, 40 years from now. Do not disappoint that person by being foolish through the strongest years of your life. And then when your back is out and your knees are swollen and you can't move around, now you're out there going to get your grind on now?
When I'm in a storm, I'm trying to gain control. But God's message to all of us whenever we feel like we are in a storm is not to keep control, but to keep courage. You keep courage and God will take control. He's going to get you through this storm. You just got to keep courage.
If you get too tightly zoomed into this one scene or this one moment or this one struggle or this one issue, you're going to miss the bigger picture. God knows where to put you. He knows what he put in you. And he knows what he wants to do through you.
How do you keep the faith? How do you keep your head above water? How do you march against the tide? How do you stand up when everybody around you seems to be falling down? How do you keep firm and solid footing when everything underneath you seems to be slipping away? How do you keep the faith? You've got to be born again. And when you're born again, there's some things you just have to take. Just some things you have to stand up under. There's just some fights you're going to have.
Here's what leadership is. The challenge to be more than mediocre. The challenge to step up to a new level, a new dimension. And here's what this new dimension has. Opportunity and responsibility. But who wouldn't want the responsibility along with the opportunity if it builds an extraordinary life? You wouldn't want it any other way. The refinement of leadership. Make this list. Learn to be strong but not rude. Some people mistake rudeness for strength. Rudeness we don't need. Strength we do need. Here's the next one. Learn to be bold but not a bully. We need to boldly seize the day, boldly seize the opportunity, boldly seize the chance. But we don't need bullies. We don't need anybody to push anybody around. There's a whole new level of leadership. A new method of leadership. Here's what it is. Leadership by invitation. Not leadership by threat, not leadership by intimidation. That now shows the weakness of the leader. That now shows ego at work instead of skills. But it's leadership by invitation. Invite somebody to a better way of doing things. Here's what else it's called. Leadership by inspiration. Inspiring somebody to make the necessary changes to move up or to get the job done. As leaders, we inspire. As leaders, we entice. As leaders, we invite, entice, inspire, not threaten. New kind of leadership. Be bold but not a bully. Next, be kind but not weak. Some people mistake weakness for kindness. And it's a great mistake. Kindness isn't weak. Kindness is a certain unusual strength. But don't say, I must be weak in order to be kind. The answer is no. Sometimes you have to be unusually strong to be kind. Somebody coined the expression, tough love. Love that really tells the truth and levels, sometimes with a broken heart, but whatever has to be said, has to be said. Kind but not weak. Here's another one that's excellent. Be thoughtful but not lazy. We need to give thought, but we also need to take action.
Only quality people. As you think about your goals and dreams, this is not for everybody. You want to build an organization with only quality people. Not people who need more, but people who want more. You want to surround yourself with people that are hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. If you do what is easy, always looking for a way to give yourself a pass, to let yourself off the hook, to do what everybody else is doing, a job, the journey of the broke. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But there's something in you that says, you know, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore.
It's not what you are that holds you back. It's what you think that you are not. That's what holds you back. You cannot always control circumstances, but you can always control your own thoughts. Nothing changes until your mind changes. Information does not bring transformation. Conversion does.
You need to dream without just being a dreamer. Head in the clouds, yes, dreaming lofty dreams, but feet on the ground. Here's 2 or 3 more. These are excellent. Be humble but not timid. Some people mistake timidity for humility. Humility is a virtue. Timidity is an illness. It can be cured. It can be managed. And if you are timid, you got to work on it. I'm telling you, it's a weakness. It's not a virtue. But you must turn your timidity into strength and keep working on it, and keep working on it until finally you have driven it into such a small corner that it does not devastate your life anymore. But humility is a virtue. Expands your ability to understand the vastness of it all and how small we are in relation to everything. Humility that causes you to get on your knees and talk to a child without any fear how you look. Humility to understand, yes, humans are unique, but in the vast space of it all, we're all pretty small. Yes, we know, but what we don't know is so much greater than what we do. Here's a couple of more. Be proud without being arrogant. There's something to be said for team pride, community pride, company pride, personal pride. But don't cross the line to where you're being proud now becomes arrogance. Pride we need, arrogance we need. Arrogance is usually the childish attempt to make up for lack of self-worth. Childish attempt to make up for lack of self-worth has a tendency to create arrogance. And you know the worst kind of arrogance? Arrogance from ignorance. That's the worst kind. If a guy's smart and arrogant, we can tolerate that. But if a guy's dumb and arrogant, that's hard to take. So now, all leaders must learn the basic laws so they can use them as illustrations as well as use them for productivity. Here's the first of the basic laws. Whatever you sow, you reap. Now here's another way to put it on the positive side. In order to reap, you must sow. Reaping is reserved for those who sow, who plant. To deserve the harvest, you must plant the seed, take care of it in the summer, carefully harvest it, and then do wise things with the harvest. Now, here's the rest of the law of sowing and reaping. If you sow good, you reap good. If you sow bad, you reap bad. You can't sow bad and hope for good. You can't plant weeds and hope for flowers. It works both positive and negative. Now, here's something else about the law of sowing and reaping. You don't reap what you sow. You reap much more than what you sow. You've got to be careful sowing to the wind. It doesn't come back as a wind. It comes back as a whirlwind. That's on the negative side. But now it also works on the positive side. If you plant a cup of corn, how much do you get back? A cup? No, a bushel for the cup. You get back much more than what you plant. It's the reason for planting, for the increase. Positive, negative. Now here's the next key to the law of sowing and reaping. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. The farmer plants the crop in the spring, takes care of it all summer, is an honorable man, loves his family, is a decent citizen. But the day before he sends the combines into the field, a hailstorm comes along and beats his crop into the ground, and it's gone, it's lost. So this time it didn't work. So now what must the farmer do? He's got to decide whether to do it again or not. Should we take another chance in the next spring? We would advise him to do so, even though he lost everything in the last harvest. And it didn't work. You didn't reap what you sowed. But here's the law of averages. Here's the odds. More often than not, you reap what you sow. More often than not, you'll have a harvest if you plant in the spring. There's no guarantee, but more often than not. And guess what more often than not is? Pretty good odds. It's better than Las Vegas. Incredible. Next, one of the most important laws to learn is the law of averages. If you do something often enough, you'll get a ratio of results. Once you understand that, the world is yours. Learning to employ people in the unique thing called the law of averages is stunning in its result in terms of fortune, future. In baseball, we call it batting average. Swing 10 times, get a hit. Swing 10 times, get a hit. Nobody bats 9 out of 10. Some of these guys are getting $5, $6, $7 million a year, batting 2, 3 out of 10. So you don't have to be perfect here. All you have to do is understand the law of averages. Now, even if you're only getting 1 out of 10, you can now start to compete. If you've been here a long time, you can get 9 out of 10. I just joined, I can only get 1 out of 10. I'm telling you, if we have a contest, I will beat you. Say, well, you just started, how could you beat me? It's very simple. While you talk to 10 and get 9, I will talk to 100 and get 10. I win. Isn't that clever? Here's what I do if I'm new. I make up in numbers what I lack in skill. Once you understand the law of averages, I'm telling you, it's so exciting to work with the law of averages. Here's the next important law, called the law of faith. Faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. Faith, though, can turn difficulty into reality, positive reality. Here's what faith is for. Number one, faith is the ability to see it as it is. Faith doesn't mind seeing it as it is because faith is a miracle worker. Faith does not ignore the negative. Faith uses the negative because if there was no negative, there'd be no need for faith. If everything is okay, what would you need faith for? You need faith because it isn't okay. Now, what isn't okay? Who knows? The situation that isn't okay. So here's what faith does. Number one, faith does not ignore the negative because faith now stands as the miracle worker if you let it work. So faith sees it as it is. If it's ugly, it's ugly. If it isn't working, it isn't working. If it's a mess, it's a mess. It doesn't hurt to call a mess a mess. You don't need to fancy it up here. If it's broke, it's broke. If it's miserable, it's miserable. Faith doesn't mind admitting that. Faith doesn't mind seeing that. Here's why. Number one, you can see it as it is. That's the beginning of faith, seeing it as it is. Now, here's the second step of faith. See it better than it is. Couldn't you see beyond the mess? The mess is for today. Couldn't you look into tomorrow? The answer is yes, I guess I could look into tomorrow. Humans have this incredible ability to look into tomorrow, to look into next week. Dream the dreams, make the plans, visualize, use your imagination, see it better than it is. Now here's the third step that turns faith into reality. Make it better than it is. Faith now must be invested in the muscle. But if you invest faith now in the action, you can take any situation and make it better than it is. Next, in the beginning of faith, seeing it as it is. Don't see it worse than it is. Don't blow it out of proportion. Some people have this tendency to blow it all out of proportion and say, well, it can't be that bad. If it's this bad, that's how bad it is. You don't need to multiply how bad it is by 10. Just as it is. That's the deal. As it is. Don't see it worse than it is. Now here's the next. Don't see it for more than it can become. There's a thin line between faith and folly. Yes, it's possible to see yourself as a millionaire, but not overnight. Somebody says, well, yes, I can see that. Don't see it for more than it can become in a reasonable period of time. Yes, if it dropped out of the sky overnight, but that's not likely. But it's still possible to be a millionaire. It's still possible to be rich and wealthy, given a certain amount of time working with the law of averages and all the rest of the stuff we've talked about today. So don't see it for more than it can become so that you move into folly instead of faith. Plenty is possible without being foolish. Now here's the next one. Give yourself a chance to understand that it could be far more in the future than what you can first see. Take the first step of what you can see, but give yourself a chance to be able to see it for more than what you first see. On a foggy night, if all you can see is 100 feet, here's what you do. Walk that first 100 feet, now you can see another 100 feet. You can't see the 200 feet. But if you can see 100 feet, you walk the first 100 feet, now you can see another 100 feet. So I'm asking you to take the early steps of faith. Whatever you can see it possible to become, start believing that. Have faith for that. And I'm telling you, as that starts to exercise, you'll be able to see it for more and for more and for more. The possibilities will start to increase in your own imagination.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.